Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Marcel, Hyde Mindset. And my voice is a little bit low today, not because I'm sick or anything like that, but it's because there's other people around and we got to keep a lower volume. If I was, in an area where I can, really talk loud, then I would. But right now, I got to talk a little bit lower. All right. So if you get me, if you know, you know. All right. So today's message is you really have to separate yourself, okay? And when I say you have to separate yourself, I'm speaking in terms of, everything in your life, okay? Because, there's this thing out right now, where people say you don't need school, okay? A lot of people say you don't need school. And the reality is, a small percentage of people can actually make it that big. How many Jeff Bezos are there? How many Elon Musk are there? There's only one, right? So, I always advise people to go for it because I'm going for it. I'm going for everything that this life, everything I can get out of this life, I'm going to go for it. That's my goal. If I can become a Jeff Bezos or I can become an Elon Musk, not them per se, but my own version of them in whatever industry or field that I'm in, then that's my ultimate goal. But there's no saying that that's going to be guaranteed to happen. There's only one of them, right? So you got to find what your thing is. And there's this narrative, whether it's like TikTok, Instagram, that, oh, you don't need education, just be an entrepreneur. But everyone wasn't built to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wasn't brought into this earth to be an entrepreneur, to run your own business. Maybe you were brought here to work in a company. Maybe you're just being conditioned or programmed to think that, you should be an entrepreneur, you should be running a program or a company. What skills do you have? I'll ask you that question because a lot of people will say, oh, I should be running a company. But what skills do you have to run a company? Who have you actually led? What teams have you managed? What teams have you supervised? And then when you ask yourself these questions, you start to break down and see you're not actually ready for that. That's not actually who you are. But you've bought into the narrative of the media, the online world, and them selling you on, oh, you're supposed to be your boss and you're supposed to own this and you're supposed to own that, okay? So, I say strive for it, because I'm doing whatever it takes to strive for it. I got a YouTube channel. I advise you to get a YouTube channel, whatever your gift is, right? My gift is inspiring, motivating, self-help, and I recognize that, so I create videos to help other people out there that might be on a similar journey as me or just going through life and need that support. Let's say, you don't have that friend that you can go to and be like, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Or you don't have that family member you can go to, or whoever it is, that person you can go to. So that's why I created this channel, because I always want you to feel that you can come to this channel, listen to a message that I'm delivering, and that inspire you to become the best version of yourself, whatever that version is, okay? For everybody, it's different. For some people, they're gonna take this and be like, I'm gonna continue building the business that I started. Some people are gonna take my videos and say, you know what? I don't have a bachelor's degree. You know what? I don't have a college diploma, and I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna go to university. Or some people, they're in the middle. They have a bachelor's degree, and they're like, you know what? To really elevate myself, I need a master's degree in the field that I'm in. So use my video for wherever you are to, inspire you to become the best version of yourself, whatever that individual is supposed to be, because it's different for everybody. Everybody doesn't have the same threshold. Everybody doesn't have the same capacity to handle pressure the way some people do. And you have to recognize and understand that. And that comes from knowing yourself, and when you know yourself, you make certain decisions in this life, Like, it's good to be uncomfortable. It's good to come out of your comfort zone, but you also have to know yourself, and that's the key, all right? Are you doing something because, somebody else is doing it and you're just following them and that's not who you are? Or are you doing something because this is who you are and this is what you're meant to do, all right? So you got to ask yourself those questions, and we talk about being awaken or woke or whatever culture you want to call it. And this is not like a woke talk or anything like that. This is something I have that everybody has, and it's just self-awareness. I know my level. I know where I'm at. I know what I'm capable of. And I know when I'm not walking, in my true potential that I have, or I know when I'm cutting or selling myself short. And we all know that. We all know when we're selling ourselves short. We all know when we're cheating ourselves. This has nothing to do with woke. This has something to do with being honest with yourself. We all know if we could do better. We all know if we could give a little bit more, okay? We all know that. So my message is for you. If you know that, then now is the time to make the change in your life, all right? And I started off the video, and at least I think I did, saying you have to separate yourself, all right? So in terms of separating yourself, let's say, you're in a company and there's a certification that you could take that's going to put you on an even higher level, all right? Take that certification, all right? You have to find ways to separate yourself in this competitive world, especially if you're in a big, if you're in a big country, if you're in a big state, if you're in New York, Los Angeles, if you're in Canada, Toronto, maybe in Calgary, Vancouver. These are bigger markets with competition, all right? And there's a lot of people out there with like bachelor's, master's, PhDs, and you have to find ways to separate yourself. If you're in the system, if you work for a company, you have to separate yourself. If you have a business, then you have to separate yourself. And you have to find ways to separate yourself, okay? Even if it's just that, like if you work for a company and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm better at doing the job than Jimmy or Joe or Jake or Mary or Cindy. But guess what? Cindy has her MBA and leadership, but you have your sociology degree and you just have your sociology degree. So on paper, they might look better, but actually getting the work done, you might be better fit. But because you didn't have that paper, now you're limiting yourself to actually, getting to that level. And some people get lucky, right? Some people have no degrees. Some people have all the degrees and still end up nowhere. At the end of the day, I believe that it's you. It comes back to you. The degree never made me. It's just a piece of paper at the end of the day saying I went through some theory and I was able to either regurgitate or memorize and spit out what I memorized, right? But at the end of the day, it's attached to my name, and if you're in the system, that gives you credibility. So it does unlock doors for you, right? Unlocks a lot of doors for you. But a lot of times we listen to all these content creators that tell you, don't go to school, start your own business, but a lot of them, you're hearing it from successful people, right? You're hearing these stories from successful people. What about the people that did, because there's more people that failed than succeeded. So what about the people that started it? What about the people that went into deep debt? What about the people that lost everything? What about the people that went homeless, all right? So you got to know yourself. Are you doing it because you're hearing it and it's the cool thing to do? Or are you doing it because that's what you are destined for? That's what, God or the higher power had put in you to create, for the world. It was a business, So you got to ask yourself that question, and whatever you're doing, you have to separate yourself, whether it's business, whether it's content creation, whether it's, you're in a company. You have to do whatever it takes to separate yourself. If you're an athlete, I used to be an athlete, and I never understood this concept. Coach always said I was right there, but then I got cut. From the top teams I'm talking about. The lower level teams, I had no issues making. I was good enough to make all those teams. But the top, the best of the best, the coach was always like, you're right there, and then I got cut. You know why? Because I didn't separate myself. I didn't make it so evident that is the person we're going to pick. That's the guy we're going to pick, and there's no question. He's good, but, no, we don't want that. We don't want anybody to question he's good, but, no. We want someone to say, there's no other person I'm selecting but you. And that's how you have to make yourself, right? You have to make yourself that valuable to a company, to a business, to an organization, whatever it is. And you got to find ways to separate yourself, And, I had like so many more points to say, but, we'll start there, all right? So I challenge you to find ways to separate yourself. That way you can level up in your life, in your business, in your career, all right? So remember, grab my ebook, link is in the bio, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you know someone that needs to hear this message, all right, make sure you share it with them, all right? Remember, mindset is everything.